Hi, just a very quick video to show you some work we've been doing on Claritas in the current development sprint in the next beta release. So for a while now we've been looking or thinking about what we can do to the main UI interface for the Claritas launcher to make it a little bit more appealing and attractive to users, simplify things a little bit. So this work's going to be ongoing throughout v7.4. And some of the other things we'll do is we'll start looking at new icons and stuff for different applications in the software. But I thought I'd show you where we are to date and what we've got so far in this sort of first sprint release for v7.4. So as you can see here, we've got the SizeCat application, and then next to it now is the updated renewed launcher. So a few key changes to the launcher will be that we've moved the tabs from the right hand side to the left hand side. It's a little bit more intuitive to pick the tab you want and then move across to the right to pick the application you want. We also removed the number of tabs we've got present. So we've taken a couple of the ones out. So we've got rid of the wavelets tab because it only had the one application on it, and we've moved that wavelet application onto the seismic data tab because it's still playing around and using data ultimately, or seismic data. We got rid of the plotting tab, and we've moved what was in the plotting tab up onto sort of utils tools menu or apps menus. You can still access all the applications that we've sort of slimmed down and removed, but they've just been put somewhere else. We've got rid of the miscellaneous and admin tabs, mainly because those contained pretty much all tools or functions for just changing how the software behaved or importing license keys or stuff like that, not really actual applications for working on seismic data and processing a seismic line. So, and we also changed the order somewhat. So at the moment now, flows comes in at the top. There's probably still some juggling to go around here. But at the moment, it'll be flows and then important aspects below that. So you can see we've got flows, help, projects, seismic data, geometry, velocities, and statics available on there. As you can see as well, there's a lot fewer. And again, there's still some here that I think will move off the launcher and into the apps, utils, or tools drop-down menus. You have the job flows, image suite, help tab, stuff on there. We'll start putting some backfilling some icons on here to make life a little bit easier. Projects, again, we've got all the project utilities there still. Seismic data tab, we have SizeCat, View Seismic, SV, etc. Trace header maths, and again we'll slim down some of these because there's some on here that probably don't need to be on the launcher itself. Geometry, all the sort of tools we'd want. So geometry setup from SPS, the Condor application, query geometry, and set up 3D grid. Velocities, so we've got CVA, isovels, and the SV method for picking pre-computed semblances, and then statics. So again, first group picking 3D RefStat, view statics, 2D RefStat, Tomo 3D. So that's the tabs we've got left, and you can see we've slimmed down a lot of what's on there because there used to be an awful lot of utilities or applications on each tab, which made it a little bit dense to sort of work out what you wanted and what you actually needed to work with. And then you can see up here we've got two buttons where we can select a project we want to work on, or we can locate to a directory we want to work in if we're not using the project method. So I'll click on projects, bring up our standard project selection widget, and I'll just stick it in my own little project there. And then on the apps menu, we can pretty much access everything that's in the job flows that was in the job flows is now up in this app. So we can edit a text file, edit a control file, seismic data. We can launch SizeCat and other bits and pieces, Segway file analyzer, stuff like that. Geometry, again, the key applications are available there. Velocity analysis, static. So we can go via that if we want. In utils, we've got some of our key velocity utilities, applying floating datum, converting to NMOs from NMO files to another format, convert Promax velocity files, etc. Some of these old school utils we had. Statics, similarly. And geometry as well, some of the ones where we can convert ASCII text files to SPS file or LLD formats and stuff like that. And then the tools, we've got our admin tools, so license app manager application, The little system info button's been relocated up here so we can list the license, LAN and version information for that machine we're running on. Version selector, edit link options file, plot devices file, and labels used for raster and output plot. User preferences, so edit user preferences, XWin resources, etc. And then command line, so basically where we used to have a terminal button on every single tab, now we've just up here, we've got command line, and it'll allow you to select where you want to open a terminal, whether it's the jobs, data, geometry, velocities, or statics directory, and you can open that up there. As I say, it's a work in progress. One of the key new features that I think will be very useful for people is now that we can say go to the flows directory, we can right mouse button click on job flows and add that to favorites. And now you see we've got an extra tab up here called favorites. And that's got job files in it, so we can open job files from there. We can also go to seismic data and decide that we wanted to add view seismic to the favorites tab as well. So rather than if as a user you are predominantly using, say, job files, seismic viewer, and say velocity analysis tools, so CVA, you can populate this favorite tabs with those things you use regularly and then never have to sort of search around in any of the other tabs or utils applications up here. So it will make your life a lot easier. And then the other thing is what we're going to do as well is we can add a new user-defined capability. So if I click on that, bring up a little form. We can give a title for the button we're going to put in there. We can define the command we want to run. So for instance, if we wanted to add a standard calculator into here, we could define the run command for calculator in the system we're running on, and that will add that button into a user, into the favorites or into the user-defined area. And then a description of what that button is. So if you've got another application that you run a lot of the time, say you've got a version of Petrosys Pro on your system, if you know what the command that runs or launches the application is, you can run that, you can add that into the command to run and then effectively fire up Petrosys Pro from the Claritas launcher. So yeah, that's where we are with that. It's we believe it looks a lot sort of cleaner, nicer, fits in a lot more with our newer applications like SizeCat, ViewStatics and Condor. We'll look forward to your feedback when you get a chance to start playing around with the updated launcher in the beta release that will come out towards the end of this month. Thank you for your time and goodbye.